Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first part of a new series for the Wine Place. My name is Bruno, for those who don't know me, and I'm the resident wine nutter at the Wine Place, a lovely wine bar in Covent Garden, London, that hasn't seen the light of the sun for a few months now after yet another lockdown. But the good news is that we're going to be back. I don't know if in full force it's going to be 3 months as anticipated, and we really do hope so. Definitely what we're counting down is for the 12th of April, which is our first key date where the beer gardens are going to open, and we have a wine garden of here, 4 tables during the day, but they will become more tables during the evening where 6 people or less can meet outside for a nice bottle of wine and some food. It would be great to welcome you. We also run a retail operation online and in the shop, and you find us online at italianwines.com. I will avoid my sales pitch, and we're gonna reserve that for the end of the evening after we say goodbye to Marco. Let's carry on and go for the presentation of the man of the evening, Marko Primosic. Ciao, Marco.
Hi, hello, good evening. Hello, everybody. Buonasera.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. Marco and I go back a long way because when I started specializing in Italian wine, it was one of the first families that I really sort of got involved and fascinated about. It is a representative of a territory that is very dear to me because it's not far away from where I've grown up when I was a kid in the region of Friuli, Venezia Giulia. So to give you some expectation about tonight, I hope that everybody can see the slide fine. If you want to toggle between the slides and the gallery, you can do so in your settings. I think everybody's in now, so I can take these off and move these here so I can see better. So the Primosic winery is located in the village of Oslavia, which is in the heart of Collio, in the north and east region of Friuli, Venezia Giulia in Italy. And for this family, it is a tradition to grow vine and to make wine. And this tradition is going on, I think, for the best of 5 generations nowadays. And we're gonna talk about Carlo at the end of the 19th century, and we're gonna end up talking about Marco's son and daughter that I think are getting quite a lot of interest in the business. So I'm looking forward to it. What we're gonna do, just to give lots of structure, because Marco and I are very good at starting and talking and losing what the way is. We're just gonna slide through the events, and we're gonna stop to taste the wines, and we just inserted the wines in a tasting order during the slides. But be advised that we will talk about grapes, territory, and wines in between. So use the narrative of the slide and the tasting. We're just gonna treat it like a separate thing. So don't get confused if we start talking about Ribolla, but there is not the Ribolla wine there, because it's very, very important for us to tell you the whole story and then to taste the wine in the right order so that is organoleptically correct. And the 3 main things we're going to talk about today with Marco are people, so the family, the Primosic family, are wines, so what they produce and why they go about producing in the way they produce, and then, of course, the territory, the place where they are. And in very good Italian manner, I think the first thing that we're going to do is to raise the wine number 1 and toast to Marco and to all of you, thanking you for being with us tonight. Quindi salute.
Salute.
Marco, I'm gonna pass you over to you because we're gonna start by wine.
Sauvignon.
About everything else.
Yeah. So I hope you don't know, but we are in front roughly 250 slides, And I hope that Bruno don't spend so many minutes for just for one, because we spend the night together. But the right start it is with Sauvignon. The main reason I hope that in this evening and the time that we are spending together, probably you have a more clear picture about our region, about the wines from Friuli Venezia Giulia region. And together with Bruno, we have chosen a very different style of wines, very representative of character of our region. The main reason that we start with Sauvignon Blanc, this on Isonzo River, on it's a flat area with some stones and beautiful territory, really to appreciate the fragrance, the aromatic notes, the crispy notes of this wine. This is just to start, but I would like talk, it's a little unconventional start with the wine, but it's the matter that with the Bruno, we are like really to talk about the wine with the wine in a glass. Normally, classic way, it is really starting to talk about story of the family, but we start a little with a wine before, then we are talking a little about the story, a little territory, and a little more comfortable way, so that we talk, we test, retalk and retest this, what we have chosen. Of course, I hope that you understand me, because I'm born here in northeastern Italy and Slovenia border. So I speak in Slovenian, I speak in Italian, I speak a little Friulano, I speak in German. I don't speak English, so I try to do that. So please don't kill me if I tell you something very wrong or something stupid. So my girlfriend tell me that I use and make mistakes with some German words, especially with while and because. The means similar but not the same. So don't kill me for this if I crash you a little your language. So please don't kill me for that.
Marco, good. Your English is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I hope just that it is understandable. If not, appreciate the wine. Good, Bruno. Who has who pushed the slides?
The slides. So let's carry on. Before we push the slide, I just wanted to taste the wine with you. So obviously the visual examination is giving us a straw yellow color. I think it's got a little bit of a greenish shade to it, and it's obviously an aromatic grape. So we're in front of Sauvignon Blanc, which is an international grape. So we're going to talk a lot about, but also, and this is very exciting for me, because every time I talk about Italian international varieties, I like the fact that it's like the dresses of a beautiful lady. This is what I describe it. That is always beautiful, the Sauvignon, but then he wears different dresses depending on where it's grown. And I like the fact that the Sauvignon in here has all the cards right for what Sauvignon is in the rest of the world as well. But it is very much sort of recognizable coming from the territory that he comes.
Just Bruno, just two things about the grapes in our region. For example, Sauvignon arrived in Friuli Venezia Giulia in 70 centuries. On this time, we are under Austro-Hungarian Empire. We have a lot of German grapes and indigenous grapes, and take the French, very famous family Latour, some French grapes in our region, because they are moving from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, because the phylloxera starting to damage and destroy all vineyard in France. And then with the idea, like a COVID, start in one part of the world and then contaminate the phylloxera, do the same things in all the Europe, destroyed 90% of vineyards in this time. And they are moving some plants, some vines from France. Yes, in our region. And they're coming the Pinot family on this time and the Sauvignon Blanc. So we have, so with this grapes, quite a long story, and thanks to the Latour family.
Thank you, Latour family, not only for the wine that they produce, but for the goodness that they got us in tonight.
Yeah.
I love, obviously, the hint of pepper, elderflower. I like the peach. It's got sort of a nice tropical notes. I like the fact that Sauvignon Blanc, depending on the ripening of the fruit, sometimes it can be more citrusy or more peachy. So I think this is quite balanced in between the two. I don't know what you think about it. But I love it. I love the acidity. I love the dry taste. I think it's nice, soft and elegant, and it's got a very good length in the mouth. I know that the world is divided in Chardonnay lovers and Sauvignon lovers, and you shouldn't really mix the one. But I'm one of the rare occurrences in which I like both. So very enjoyable, Marco, and very, very good. And I hope everybody else is liking the wine as well. Please feel free to put your comments. If you have any tasting notes you want to share with us, absolutely. If we miss anything, or if you want to give us your own opinion, this is what the chat is there for. So I'm in control of the slide. Let's talk about territory.
Yeah,
carry on.
Thank you so much for this beautiful map. I just tell you, we are also really northeastern part. And then on the middle, you can see the Friuli Venezia Giulia region. It's a very small region, represent just 2% of production in Italy, but with a lot of DOC and the DOCG areas. Basically, we can tell that Friuli Venezia Giulia is shared from by hills. We have 2 hills areas and the flat area. Special from the flat area, we became very crispy, elegant, aromatic, very enjoyable and drinkable wine, like a Sauvignon Blanc. From the hilly area, we became a wine with more richness, with different kind of soil, a little more Burgundy style, with potential for aging.
Absolutely. And in fact, let's go to the definition of Collio DOC inside the region of Friuli Venezia Giulia. We got 7,000 hectares, of which 1,500 are vines. And the word Collio derives from the Italian colli, colline, which means hills in Italian. And Collio is in fact a hilly area. And there in the border with Slovenia, you can actually see Slovenia from Marco's house every time I go and visit. Before the roaming charges were dropped in Europe, it was very funny to understand that if you were answering your mobile phone, it was like a lottery. Is this phone call going to cost you €1 or is it going to cost you 30? We didn't know at the time. We have a message on the chat. Lovely. Would you say there is a little reduction in the wine, or are the unripe green flavors an expression of the grape? That's a question for you. So yes, go ahead.
We are talking about
the Sauvignon. Sorry.
Yeah, this a new vintage is quite a baby. So I expect a little reduction on the nose because start his shell life, and basically by Sauvignon from our area start to be a little reduction on the nose, and then increase after the summer, and became in the next year so this beautiful more flower richness at the nose. We have to know a little, there are different styles of Sauvignon and different clones. This means the family inside the Sauvignon. In Friuli Venezia Giulia, we have, the name is R3, is a selection of Sauvignon born in Friuli Venezia Giulia. And the smell, the nose is slightly different, like South Africa or New Zealand. They are more, sometimes more aromatic, but in different style. The Friuli Venezia Giulia is more in the direction of mint and tomato leaf on the nose. So the tomato leaf, you have saw this beautiful greenness, beautiful freshness, but less apricot, for example.
Okay, I hope this answered the question. And the hilly area of Collio is in fact delimited by the two rivers, the Udrio on one side and the Isonzo on the other. And the Isonzo is the area in which we are talking about for this wine here. And this area is characterized by its hills and beautiful landscape, and is known worldwide for the production of these mineral, powerful and aged white wines. And Collio became a symbol of quality white wine. And we're going to touch the subject where we're going to talk about the history in a second. The climate of Collio is mild in temperature and temperate. And then there is obviously the presence of the Alps that are not far away, that are protecting and creating what we always discuss about, especially when we talk about Italy and Italian wine, which is the microclimates and the different sort of climatic areas.
Yeah, the magic of the region in terms of climate, it make more focus on whites because we have just a small piece of land between Adriatic Sea and Alps. You can see in the front of you, so the picture of our region from the flat area to the mild hills, and then on the back side, the Alps. And the picture is made from the Adriatic Sea. They are just 15 miles from the sea to the mountain. And that means that we have cold wind from the Alps in summer. That's very important to maintain in the wine, the freshness and the acidity. And we don't have snow in the winter, happen just for the Christmas time, because the Adriatic Sea make a mild climate. At the end, there's a beautiful play between Bora, that's the name of the wind on Trieste that came from Alps, and with a lot of energy go to on the sea, make a very dry climate. It's important to have good fruits, good grapes, and special in the summer that we don't have overcooked grapes. Change the temperature between day and night. This change is a very, very good help to maintain the freshness and the acidity inside the wine, special for wine for aging.
Yeah, I love the reference to the wind, and it's a reference that is very often used when we talk about Italian food and wines. You know, we spoke about the Vesuvius in Naples and the wind corridor that is creating the beautiful pasta di Gragnano, that is drying the beautiful pasta di Gragnano, the same as the Apennine range is creating in both the Adriatic coast and the Tyrrhenian coast. And there is always a very big component. We also spoke about how Sardinian Vermentino differs from Vermentinos in Liguria and Toscana, also because of the wind, and that is a very serious component. And I'm very accustomed to Bora, which is the name of this cold wind for northeast that is sort of blowing, especially in the cold season. And this is helping, is crucially important for aromatic grape varieties. Barry is telling us, I thought Collio was famous for Pinot Grigio. It is, but we purposely omitted Pinot Grigio tonight.
It's important to know about the story of the Collio between the influences of German culture, French tradition, Italian indigenous grapes. Inside the DOC Collio, we have 24 different grapes recognized from the DOC Collio. That means a lot of grapes. One of the most important is in terms of international grape recognized, represent Italy in the world like Prosecco. It is, of course, Pinot Grigio. And part of the Collio story, it is based on Pinot Grigio grapes, but especially in 70s. But it's not the oldest or the indigenous grapes from the area.
Well, let's face it, it's very successful. You know, it's a grape that was successful because the markets that want a wine that is nice and crispy and it smells of summer and is excellent in the garden, on the patio, we call it patio wines. Pinot Grigio fits the bill. You don't really think about the wine when you drink Pinot Grigio in the mindset of the consumer in this country. But then we discovered, and especially in our region, we discovered that Pinot Grigios go 50 shades. No one, you know, they're a different way. And you produce Pinot Grigio, and you produce obviously Pinot Grigio on the skin and the maceration process that we're going to talk about in a second. So to reply to Barry, yes, he's a predominant grape. I would say so. We
represent roughly 25-30% of vineyards in the Collio DOC area. Yes. We have talked about climate. Now we are talking about soil. And we have two names to remember. One is Bora for climate. That's typical for our region. The second is Ponca for the soil. Ponca, it is flesh. It's a very poor soil, oceanic origin. It's not a volcanic origin. It's very old oceanic origin soil. And there is two things very important for vineyards. Drainage, that means that with the rainy season, we don't have any water that is slipping inside the soil. There's very, very good drainage. And the second is a very, very rich in all kinds of minerals, poor and rich in minerals. There are two things that do that the vines put very deep the roots in the soil. Deep means that catch all minerals for the neatness of ripeness of the vines and for the ripeness of the grapes and for the texture and structure of the wine. More rich in terms of minerals and poor is soil, more rich are grapes in terms of power, in terms of intensity, in terms of flowers, not only in terms of sugar. Good soil means poor yield in terms of grapes. That's the balance, And Ponca is one of this. Second things in Collio, it's we don't have water. We cannot help and provide irrigation in the vineyards. So the soil is much more important. And the roots, they are very deep, special for the changing of climate and with dry season. So the vines can survive and produce good grapes without 1 month and more without rain. That means we need very deep roots to catch some humidity, to catch the water.
Fantastic. We got a question from Penny and John. On this photo, when we were talking about climate, the question is, why are the vines planted in curved rows? I think I know the answer. I don't want to look stupid.
No, we do some wrong things in 70s. The idea was to go to the hill with very big caterpillars, remove all the hill, and do vineyards like highway, but we do a lot of mistake, and because we remove part of this beautiful Ponca, this very rich soil. Today, much better, the philosophy is that follow the nature, follow the curve of hills. Fantastic. And this just happened. We have mild hills in the Collio, and vineyards, they are planted, a lot of handwork, but they follow the natural way of hills. They are not removed from caterpillars.
So follow the soil. My answer would have been that probably whoever planted the soil had too much of that good wine that your father keep in the cellar. I didn't want to say that. I think that's part of the reason. But anyway,
yeah,
that's a very, very good explanation, actually. And we're gonna speak in a second about sustainability and the work of the men following what nature is giving them. I think is the good philosophy to follow. And let's open a bracket here and mention Ribolla Gialla, because it's very strictly connected to the territory. And Marco has been an advocate for Ribolla Gialla since memory began for me in wine. I think you must have done 25, 30 years. I don't want to reveal your age, but you must have done 25, 30 years of incredible work in promoting Ribolla Gialla. At one point, you were going around with a yellow suit, in all wine.
yeah, correct.
In all wine with a yellow Vespa, and to find Marko Primosic in Vinitaly in the big expos, you just needed to look for yellow. Did you think it worked? Did you love doing it? And did you think now I see you concentrating on different things, but I know Ribolla's got a special place in your heart.
The matter is look a picture. Ribolla Gialla is amazing grape with so beautiful, amazing bunch. It's the only one grape with really golden bunch, golden color, and that is you go fall in love if you catch this grape inside the vineyards. The thing of the love for Ribolla Gialla grape, especially in Oslavia village and in the eastern hilly part of the Collio, it's probably part of the story. We are born farmer. We are not part of the German or French nobility in the area. And the reputation of Ribolla Gialla in the past was that it is a grape for farmers. It's not grape to do the novelty of the wines. The novelty of the wines have to be just recognized for French grapes and German grapes in the area. And my family and some Collio founder in the 60s really work hard for a very passionate way to promote and to produce wine with the grape Ribolla Gialla, because represent our heritage, represent our story. It is the farmer's grape, okay, but it's probably the most interesting grape from the area. The matter was that probably in the 70s and 60s, 70s, 80s, if fermented stainless steel, that's mean without any skin contact, without aging, probably with too much yield in terms of grapes in the vineyard, with this big bunch produce a little too poor wines. And this was the matter with some wineries kept this grape. And we have a completely different idea. The idea is that if you have to compete and to do a good job with a very crazy and difficult grapes, like Pinot Noir is same, means that you have to put more power, more energy, more attention, more patience to do a very good wine with a so poor grape. And there was
it's like it's like you change in the course of things, isn't it? You're forcing things in, which is very intensive for you as a winemaker. Some wine, you just find the right angle. The enjoyment out of it.
If we are talking about Sauvignon, we have to follow the French grapes. The same happened with Riesling or with Chardonnay. If we are talking about Ribolla Gialla, we are talking about our flagship. This is our part of story. That's the oldest grape in the area. My family is living in this hill more than 500 years. This is a very long story with this hill. And Ribolla Gialla, all during this time, was in our vineyards. Then it's matter of our heritage. We are proud to produce and to maintain the story of this grape. And today we are very happy because we find the right way to produce and communicate this wine.
Fantastic.
But take time.
Excellent. Oslavia.
Yes.
It's a small village. Tell us about this place.
Oslavia has some magic, beautiful story about a small village outside the modern style of life. It's more soft power land and very quiet area, but with terrible story. In the picture, you can check what is the white building. It's a monument of a lot of young soldiers. They died in the First World War because the Isonzo River and the Collio Hill are the front line of the Isonzo front in First World War, and there are 60,000 soldiers
remains in the Osario.
In the Osario de Oslavia.
And
so there's when we talk about the terrible story of Oslavia.
We're gonna touch on that shortly when we talk about the history, and we're just gonna go through the various story. And as you were saying, the Ribolla Gialla is the symbol of Oslavia and appreciated more than by farmers than by the rich. And it was, you know, the grape for the workers, not the grape for the nobles.
Correct.
And I like when, you know, I usually like the underdogs when something gets elevated as a deeper meaning for us as human. We appreciate something that comes from the bottom up. And I think the story of these absolutely sort of identify with this pattern. Let's talk about your vineyards, because you have various vineyards in various areas, especially in Oslavia, San Floriano and Lucinico, which are different areas around there.
Yeah, there's just few miles and represent but different kind of soil and special the positioning of sun and of influence of wind. Of course, the work in the vineyards has changed a lot in last centuries. We have started to work with a very natural way. The picture before looked the vineyard following the hills, and the same. It is the perception that the old farmer and my family the same, the sustainable approach to the viticulture. The matter is that we are working in our vineyards, we are living in our vineyards, our family are living in the vineyard. Oslavia is a place where different families are working in a vineyard. So that is the place where we are living, our son and daughters are living.
It's quite fascinating.
Very important, protect the place and respect the place in very natural way. Sometimes people asking, but in Oslavia, you are working biodynamic, you are working sustainable, you are working biologic, which way you are working? But the answer is quite easy. We have do different experience in different years. We have experienced the biodynamic philosophy, the biologic,
organic,
rules, organic, sustainable, and from each of this we have catch some good things, and basically the idea it is respect the nature, especially preserve and respect the place where you are living and working.
Absolutely fantastic. So sustainability is the big word nowadays, I think. Everybody, as you say, the respect of the land is welcoming you. And you know, I was just observing and remembering when I first came to visit you. You get up the road and there is this very rustic house, and I was assuming that you were all living there. But effectively, Marco, I don't know when you built your house. It looks pretty recent. You have your house in the middle of all your vineyard. So you need to drive to your house inside the vineyard.
Yeah,
well,
it is on the middle. It is on the middle of the vineyard, but it is bioarchitecture and it's a wooden house. For me, basically, it's important that I need to live here, but if I move, I don't damage my soil.
Absolutely, and there is a program of design very popular in the UK, and I think your house will fall onto a production of a series in there. Really, really interesting and very fascinating. Should we go to wine number 2?
Yeah.
We're gonna do the tasting. We're gonna do the tasting with the sommelier and the professionals. I promise you, we're gonna all taste all the wine at the end to do the thing. But I think it's very nice to accompany your stories with the wine, and then just to keep the focus of the technical stuff for a second and just try to understand you a little bit better. So convivially, I would go to Klin, Collio Bianco, one of my loves. I think it was the best-selling mid-range white wine in our shops for many years in a row. And I think I followed these vintages very interestingly. And when you told me the story of this wine, I think it's just amazing. I'm gonna pass it over to you and tell us about the vineyard and the name and how did it come about.
I'm so happy that we share this tasting with this wine because the Collio has 24 different grapes inside his rules, but Collio Bianco, this means field blend, represent really the heart of the philosophy of winemaking in the Collio Hilly area. The field blend is a very old Vienna tradition that remain in Collio Hilly area and basically represent the idea that different grapes that growing together in same vineyards produce more interesting wine like singular grapes. I just have some for you extra, Bruno. Nicola, can you jump and take a bottle that you buy yesterday?
I can't be there to drink it. Why you torturing me this way?
No. Just Klin is a local word. Is the name of the vineyard and means wedge. A Californian guy explained me one is wedge, and it's a piece of wood that was used in past to stop a car, like a triangle. The form of this vineyard is the most eastern part of Italy because the Klin vineyard stop on the state border with Slovenia. And Klin in local dialect means wedge, and the form of the vineyard is like a triangle. So it's a local name, it's the name of the vineyard, and it's the name of the wine. This just some curious. My son buy yesterday in a local restaurant that we don't have more at home. It's the first bottle of Klin.
No way.
First made bottle was a vintage 86. And yesterday he buy a bottle. I have bottles. I would like to show this. This is from the vintage 90. And we change a bottle and I start to work in the winery in 89 and put a lot of passion on this wine, and so changed the dress code and the label, but they surprised me. The first bottle was 86. I don't have any. And look the color. I don't know if it's possible. Check the color. It's fantastic white color. It's not cappuccino color. And I hope that we open tomorrow the 86. And I would like to check.
Whoa. I thought you were waiting for me. Okay, all right. How old is your son? Nicola. This was far before that he was born, wasn't it?
No, 10 years later.
He came about 10 years later. Oh.
Yeah.
We want to know tomorrow how he was, really.
Yeah.
Send me a message.
Yeah, we are talking about a field blend and Klin in the vineyard of Klin, growing together mostly three kinds of grapes, Tokai Friulano or Friulano, Chardonnay, and a part Sauvignon Blanc, and just a few grapes of Ribolla Gialla. We picked the grape the same day. It's a small vineyard, and they are co-fermented grape in a wooden barrel, not in barrique, in Italian Caratello, made with Slavonian wood, same wood that they're using for Brunello Barolo in Piemonte, with beautiful dry tannin. And like a Brunello, aged 4 years in cellar, 2 in wood and 2 in bottle. And 2050 is a current vintage. The Klin represent really the texture of Ponca, the soil that we have just thought about, and represent the richness and the complexity of the Collio hilly area. It's a wine with a beautiful texture and some beautiful minerality, and represent really this richness of deep roots inside the Ponca soil.
We got lots of comments about the Klin. They're coming in. We have delicious fennel seeds. Lovely wine, everybody's saying. The blend of acidity and clean freshness, Leopold is saying, is what does it for him. The mouth is persistent, say Marco. And do you feel some incense at the end? It's an interesting one. It's just that it's so complex that you could really stay here and writing down notes for quite a long while. And then as it stays in the glass and the temperature change inside the glass, you can also feel the more and the most. What do you think, Marco?
I just suggest that don't drink this wine chilly cold, and special test and retest the wine, because inside the glass became some air, and the play between different grapes and aging change your opinion. You can check first more aromatic grapes, but the second retest and the second touch with the glass change completely the rules. What really surprised the Klin is this changes, nose test, after test, and retest. It's really a wine that play with your mouth.
Fantastic. A couple of people are asking the size of the barrels. It's smaller than the barriques, isn't it?
The barrel, no, it's 3 times bigger.
The one when you do the fermentation.
600 liters.
Okay.
It's 3 times bigger,
smaller than the Tonneau, yeah.
Tonneau, it is 450, is a little bigger.
So bigger than the Tonneau, okay.
Yes, little bigger.
Changes with each sip as you warm up, exactly. The nose is fantastic. I like a comment that is actually use the word tannins for a white wine. And we know that this is going to be controversial now, because there's going to be, it is the sensation that you have in the mouth of gripping, the gripping sensation that you have in the mouth. And for a Chardonnay lover, I think you can get quite a lot of that sensation of being spent in oak. But I like this sort of mixture of the thing. Let's not forget that we're talking about Sauvignon, we're talking about Ribolla, we're talking about
Ribolla.
we're talking about Tokai Friulano, in the middle. So wines that have so much of a different character between each other, and you sort of can recognize them all, and you can also don't recognize any because it's going to be very difficult. I can feel the Chardonnay a little bit more today than usual, I have to say.
It's just a matter of the point of the testing. If increase the temperature, you catch more the mild notes, the elegance, and the alcoholic notes, the warm notes of Chardonnay. With a lower temperature, it's more the
you get more crispiness,
acidity, crispness of Sauvignon, and this elegant bitterness. The almond bitterness is from Friulano.
Nutty, the nutty finish, and a little bit of balsamic, I would say. Barry mentioned eucalyptus on the nose as the opener.
Yeah, correct.
Barry, you get a little badge for next time. Fantastic. And I think now we're getting into some serious conversation. Chardonnay toast as the open up. Yeah. It's just complex. You know, I think we should have an event once, because me and you, we had a similar event in which we do a vertical tasting of Klin, and we just see how different vintages are sort of expressing themselves. So you got complexity in the complexity, and you can enjoy. And the thing I like the most is that, unlike very complex wine usually are a little bit heavy or stucchevoli, we say in Italian, they just sort of, they stop you from pouring the next wine, and it's a bottle that you keep in the fridge for a couple of days instead of going. This goes. This is fluid. This is
the matter of texture. If you have just alcohol and sugar that do the fatness, the wine is boring. If you have from the soil, the richness and the minerality, the salinity, that's mean it's salty at the end, and that's help test and retest. Of course, it's 2015. It's a very beautiful vintage, and it's really a wine with a very long shell life. It's really no matter 10 or 15 years.
Oh, I can't wait. Some Parmesan chunks to go with it, please. Leopold is asking. I think you should. Yes, you shall. I get my little plates every time I go tasting. I always do my tasting with a bit of food. I try to be as neutral as possible, but are wines that I know already. And Italians, we don't really do wines without food, do we, Marco? And I can't stop thinking of all the afternoons in which I had to pop in, and they became very quickly evening or late nights in the good company of you and your father. Let's talk about a little bit of the history, and I think we got still some Klin to accompany in there. We spoke a little bit already about the strategic position of the Collio Hills towns in relation to the history.
The memories, I have just told that the Oslavia was the front on the First World War, and we have quite two different stories. And if you are talking with the old people in the area, you become to answer what the life was before First World War, and then what's happened after Second World War.
We have the same in Trieste, where the Austrians were around, things were so much better.
Yeah. Between First and Second World War was nothing, because all was destroyed. And it was a really terrible story. The memory is that like farmer before First World War, we have quite more easy life because our region was the southern part of the empire, and or the neatness, the means from the fruits to the wine to the vegetables was provided from the area, and then by train, Transalpina, from Trieste to Graz and to Vienna, sold for many years.
To please the tables of the empire. I think is a very very fascinating story, and I particularly like the idea of what people thought about the changes, because the Austro-Hungaric Empire was a very how do you say, it wasn't an oppressive one, so they weren't, you know, forcing themselves into new areas and then oppressing the area. Actually, it was quite the contrary. They were favoring all the area of the empire, you know, to try and thrive and be, you know, as useful as possible. And they were safeguarding peace, they were safeguarding commerce, and they were prosperous. They were very, very prosperous. And then think about, then the war comes about, and all of these tables get turned around. Before, you were the south of an empire, and then you become the north of a newly erected state, that then will very, very, very quickly slip into fascism, and we're just gonna get into war, and you know, and such a difficult story to be lived, I guess. Not for you, obviously, but I think your father probably got the end of it. Definitely, your grandfather go the middle. But this is true, as much as it's true that we are in a crossway of cultural goodness as well, in which the Oslavian people and the people from Collio, they sort of had their own identity. And I always like to think about the Oslavian people and the Collio people as resistance and revolution together with rebuild, you know, their own story, and make this a case for the rest of the world.
And a special, again, there are Carlo, this my grand we can move to the next. Yeah, Carlo, my grandfather, and on this time with horse, they're moving to really promote the wine. Basically, the economics are from our village, really vegetables, fruits, special cherries, and wine. So for many centuries, the street things paid the bills, and of course the life go much more slow like today. We can move to the next, Bruno. We have just too much told about
wars.
Between the wars, there was just a tough and very poor time. Our grandparents, there's the bridge of Transalpina train from Trieste to Vienna that was destroyed.
The bridge in
Second World War, and special in this 20 years, by hand, really, all farmers that are coming back in Oslavia remove. They have really to remove all bombs and things that are in the area. There are no houses, no vineyards, nothing, no village, no church. Nothing more in Oslavia, and they first are living in wooden barracks, and then in 20 years rebuild a little the economics, and then arrived the Second World War. There was a second very terrible part, and then we arrive at 50s, and we move to the next. And we talk about right now about the magic of Pinot Grigio, and why is Pinot Grigio so important for the Collio. Can we go to the next, Bruno? Or Sonia, I don't know who.
No, it's me.
With the slides? Okay.
Yeah.
I need nothing changed. Can we move to the next?
I'm moving them. Can you see them? I'm
yes.
moving them.
No, no. No, they stop between the words. They were so terrible that they don't move from there.
Okay. Mine is moving. I don't know if everybody else can see it. Give me a sign. It stay there.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. If you find
I'm just gonna stop the screen sharing and restart it again.
Okay. I told I know what's. Oh wow! How many
Try
faces? Again. Hi, hello.
Hello everyone. A little technological hiccup.
Yeah. Now about the rebuild, and before we are talking about the Pinot Grigio, it's very important to remember that we are the south of the empire. That means we provide white wines special to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the German people, they are white wine drinker. After the Second World War, our family and all the producers from the Collio, they are the northeastern part of Italy, and Italian people, Italian guys, are red drinker. Nobody care about white wines from our region. That means the special after the Second World War in the 50s was very tough time because we don't have any consumer. They are white wine drinkers. And there was a very terrible time. And then happened something magic with Pinot Grigio grapes. And thanks this photo of my father. He was unlucky guy because lost his big brother and his father just like a boy. This picture, it is from the 62, 64. But my father was then the owner of the winery and the
15
farm.
years old.
Just a 15 years old.
Wow.
Have to grow very, very, very fast, and with a lot of responsibility, and start to the work in the winery to produce and bottling wine. And with like youngs with new ideas, start to produce wine for this time in a very modern style. And there are not so many families and not so many producers. They are bottling in 60s in Italy, and especially in Collio, because there was not a market in Italy for wines from the Collio. The matter is that we are in the time of Vespa, of Fiat 500, of Milano da Bere. The economy in 70 in Italy is booming, not like right now. And there was a very good time. An Italian wine writer named Gino Vernelli on this time works like a writer for magazine Corriere della Sera, this national, very important magazine.
Newspaper.
And newspaper. And then this was very, very new that the Rai Uno, the national TV, in the evening have a special program that talk about cuisine and wine, and change the opinion of Italian consumer about the wine, not like a food, but like a leisure. Increase and start to increase the knowledge and the perception of the wine in terms of concept that is not
something that you need to have with your meal,
but it's something unique and special. In this time, white wine is a new trend. Red wine is old style and is boring. and happened something similar that happened in California, Mid-Side Away. No one ordered Merlot and booming the Pinot Noir sales in US. That something happened with Pinot Grigio grape. Gino Veronelli tell the new trend, it is Pinot Grigio from Alto Adige, Südtirol and Collio area. And that's a modern, crispy wine that all youngs have to drink and not drink more boring old reds. So in 70s, so this very booming the economy in our region, restart quite a renaissance for the area and start the building of brand Pinot Grigio grape. That means really Pinot Grigio today is not just a grape, it's a brand of Italy. And of course, then in US increase this this phenomenon, Pinot Grigio. Yeah. But start in the city of Milano.
Fantastic. And it's great to think that after a crisis, there is always a blooming of new and, you know, things are starting again. And there is, I hope the same is going to happen with us when all this COVID crisis is going to go. And that we're going to see, you know, our business flourishing. Just a good, positive thought for us.
Yes.
It's great to notice that Primosic played a part in this revival of the area.
The DOC.
Yeah, when the DOC Collio was born, because your father is one of the founders.
Yeah, it's one of the founder, and it's proud for us to have or be one of the first bottle of the Collio was a Tokai Friulano, and so it's part of our story, of our family, and our founder of this story. So little our family, my family story. It's part of the Collio story. We are really married with the area.
It's fantastic. That's a very, very good story to tell. Absolutely. The Tokai Friulano vintage. Yeah. Then you start winning awards.
Yeah, that was very important. There are three guys in the picture. There are my father and brothers. And was very important because he started to produce wine on this time in cement tanks, no more in wooden barrel, and especially in 70s, 80s, much more crispy and much more fruity are the goal, are more high score for the wines. And in 67 became some international accolades, some awards, and was a start of quite a way the scene for me and my brother from the 60 to today.
Wow, what a story. And in there, we're talking about recognition, you know, they recognize all this hard work, all the bet, all the story after the war, the rebuild, 15 years old, new business, the revival. And then, you know, coming up on top of it, you know, an achievement, and, you know, good merit to your family. I think the story is fascinating and a beautiful story to tell for sure. And it is the family as it was. Because, yeah, that was a few years ago as well. Your father looks almost the same. I can't say the same of you and your brother.
Yes. This picture is 20 years old, so that I'm on the left side and my brother Boris on the right side of the screen. And that's really a family winery, a family story. And we are thinking that's mostly, if we are talking about winery, the words are like the same: passion, family, territory in many places. But That means that there are really neatness to works with the wine and to be really passionate for the work, what we do.
We're so grateful. I will be without a job without you all doing the preliminary work for me.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Well, Barry's complaining about the portion of the wine, but that's quite usual. Apologies to anybody that didn't know us before. You can always order full bottles if you know, Barry, next tasting, 4 bottles for you, and you're going to be all right. 90s. Oh, sorry, I just ran through. What happened in the 90s?
But me and my brother, we are, of course, growth not only in years in experience, but it's little a turnaround the story of generation. My father in 60 started to do modern wine without skin, without wood. And me and my brother would like go back to the winemaking process of our grandparents. That means they would like increase the selection inside the vineyard, but special, we buy wooden barrels, big barrels, traditional barrels, and special starting to ferment it like our grandparents in contact with the skin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You started spending money and giving reason to the previous generation. I bet your father was a little bit cross with you for a while.
You know the story.
I think he's still cross now. I always remember one time I came here, and I don't know which sort of mood he was in, and we were doing the presentation of the new vintages, and you rock downstairs, you say, oh, put away all that rubbish and come downstairs and I'll make you drink the proper wine. Proper marketing move, because at that moment, I really fell in love with the man. He's very entertaining, very, very good. Yeah. So going back to the woods and getting this selection, will you say the Klin is part of this sort of revolution? Yeah, those years there.
Of course, but Klin start the process, and then special, the 2 wines that we have, the last 2 to test, represent really the deep roots inside the philosophy of Oslavia village. Oslavia, it's a village, it's a hill, it's a part of the Collio in Friuli Venezia Giulia, but Oslavia is the place where are born, named orange wine. For us, they are just skin fermented.
Maceration,
Maceration. That means wines, they are fermented like reds in very organic way. That means spontaneous fermentation without any adds in open wooden barrel or in amphoras. It's just the matter of where you are fermented.
The producers,
Yeah. And with this kind of fermentation, without any temperature control, without any influences of man, you have a very natural process of fermentation with indigenous yeast, with the influence of bacteria in positive thing.
The good bacteria, as we call them, good bacteria, the good natural thing.
And you really catch from the skin a part of the richness of the grape. Could be the same like eat apple without skin or with skin. The matter is, if you are sure that this apple growth and ripeness, it is in a very natural way, without pesticide, without any ads, it is much more tasty with the skin. The same is the wine fermented in contact with the skin. Today, get American writer talking about orange wine. We are not so happy with this name because orange is just an idea that catched a part of color of this wine. But it's much more the sense of organic, the sense of natural way, the sense that if the nature provides us fruits They are made with the juice and the skin. It is stupid and we lose part of aromatic notes, part of complexity if we don't catching all these things from the skin. That's the matter special of these two wines that we test the next. Friulano, fermented
starting with
skin,
Friulano,
and then,
and then the Ribolla.
And then Ribolla.
So let's go straight to the point. Is Friulano or is Tokai?
For me, it's Tokai.
Because when
we are just joking.
You lost your case with Hungary. When was it? Late 70s?
This is the start in 96, and then we have 10 years time, and then in 2006, not more.
Ah, okay. I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah.
You can't use Tokai anymore. As your father say, it's written Friulano, but it's pronounced Tokai. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
You write Friulano, but you pronounce it Tokai because this is the name you call it. And if you go in a bar in Oslavia to ask for a glass of Friulano, you say a glass of Tokai. And then let's wait for the Hungarian to come and take us to court. Let's do this.
Of course. Of course. Just a few words about organic fermentation or maceration. We lose some things and we become some new things. What we lose with the spontaneous fermentation, without any protection, without any ads, without any chemistry, without temperature control, the wine, the juice moved to the wine with high temperature and fire during the fermentation, a part of prime aromas. This crispy aromas that we catch in the first wine, in the Sauvignon from the Isonzo River, it's quite impossible to find more in a macerated wine. The marries, but we lose some things to become much more richness and much more complexity. The wine without any ads are born more oxidate in positive things. They have more notes, warm notes at the nose. The perception it is a little more higher alcohol, but this is just an idea that came from some aromas at the nose.
They are 14%.
Yes,
they are 14,
very good ripened fruits. And really, with this kind of winemaking, we have to approach the wine much more in terms of complexity and richness, not so much in balance, in small things. It's more like a stone and not a diamond. It's it's a raw material, and you have to appreciate before there are deepened works of hand of the man. It's more the touch with the origin, with the soil, with the nature.
So a few questions. Let's have a look. Okay, Graham is asking, how similar are wines 3 and 4 to those of Josko Gravner?
We test the last one, and then we can talk about Grauner and Ravikon are the two fathers of this philosophy. Special, probably Stanko Radikon, much more extremely. And
they are extreme wine, isn't it? Really sort of top oxidation. The wine made in amphora. The times they might seem difficult for some.
I would like about this thing. I have two words. One, it is much more is long the skin contact. That means in terms of weeks, months, or half of year. Then much more works in, with the skin, the bacteria, and the bacteria. That's mean we have more volatile acidity. We have more
sulfur and
our philosophy, and I would like to tell the second generation orange wine. This means it's not a generation of youngs, but it's generation in terms of knowledge and experience, because it's quite a young story. Start roughly in year 99, 2000. That means that today we have 20 experience, just 20
years experience.
So it's not so much. And
it's a rebirth of something old that is in the first stages of being rebirth.
Then we have first 5 or 10 experience, and we are talking about the vintage 2001 to the vintage 2010. Was a pioneeristic part, experimental part of orange wines. Same for the guys, other guys from Oslavia. And every vintage, the idea was to try more the next. For example, if I fermented a Friulano for 1 month, the next year I try to do 2 months and then 3 months. And this experience was shared together with consumer. And that was part of this thing that after 6 or 7 months is nearly a vinegar, put some good or passionate and bad reputation for some orange wine. But after 2009 and 2010, all producers recognized that the risk to damage the good things of grapes with too long maceration is too high, and today reduce the number of months in contact with skin. It's much more attention of the work of bacteria. And second, it's not easy thing. Before they are wine all bottled without sulfites. I don't talk sulfites in the fermentation, no ads, but at bottling. That means at bottling, a small part of sulfites is added to the
just
wine.
For the wine not to go to waste too early.
Correct. Just to stop a little the work of bacteria and to protect the wine from the cellar to the consumer.
Absolutely.
Those two things change completely the wines that you find today on the market. If you test, for example, I don't know who asked about the Grauner, the wines before the vintage 2008, they have one style of winemaking. After the vintage 2008 special 9 and special, I suggest to test the 2010, the wine are very, very clean and very elegant. But we talk about Ribolla later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So going back to there is another question on Tokai and Tokai, Hungarian Tokai and Friulano Tokai. They got nothing to do with each other. They're just two completely different grapes. And it's just the name that was confusing for the consumers, because one was Tokai with the J, the other was Tokai with the I. But the Hungarian argued that.
But the Hungarian Tokai is the name of the place. It's not the name of the grape, and it's made with Chavaléski and Muscadel, and it is a dessert wine or sweet wine. And the Tokai in Italy was a dry wine, and the name was the name of the grape from the oldest Savignonas or Sauvignon Vert. In France. It's a grandmother of Sauvignon Blanc.
Tokai is Tortoise in Friulano. The vineyards used to have a wooden sign with a picture of a tortoise. Fascinating. Didn't we find also in the bottle? Am I right to think? Oh no, I thought I saw that. Can you confirm that, Marco? Love it.
Yeah, stop it. We have just talked now about the second generation orange. I do that.
Yeah, yeah. Here we are. Very nutty.
Yes, correct.
Is exactly what is all about the Friulano. One of the characteristics of the Friulano grape is the sort of nuttiness.
Yes.
And let's talk about the color, because you were mentioning before the different timing that you macerate the wine with the skin. And
Yes.
so depending if you do, because you do a Pinot Grigio macerated, you do a Friulano macerated, and you do the Oslavia, and you go three
Yes.
different lengths, going from few days, I think, for the Pinot Grigio, is that correct? Up to nearly a month for Oslavia.
The berry is the skin of the grapes. For example, the Pinot Grigio has a very teeny skin. After a week of fermentation in contact with skin, the skin don't exist more. It's completely integrated in the juice, and it's not interesting to spend more time. For example, for the Tokai Friulano skin, we choose for 2 weeks. Is something between skin and some flowers from the grape that really I love. By Ribolla Gialla, that's this amazing, crazy grape with so beautiful bunch and amazing skin, this beautiful color with a very important skin, needs to spend more over amount, more like 4 weeks minimum.
Yeah.
And then it's so rich in phenolic notes that have to spend minimum another 2 years in big barrels.
Can you explain phenolic notes to us common mortal?
You have used the term of tannin.
I didn't want to say, because
tannic, it is tannic perception. Just the matter is that white wines, white grapes, they don't have any tannin, so but polyphenols. So I was using term phenolic notes. And special on the wine of Ribolla or Friulano, the color is not made or catch from the wood. It's very important, but really is a color from the skin and then from the aging of the skin. This amazing color, it's really the color of the skin.
And I like the golden yellow color. It looks like a golden yellow color. I wouldn't define this like an orange wine. It's got a tone that is very sort of pastel, isn't it? It's very sort of going into the pastel side of the story. Still quite brilliant. And the consistency of the wine in the mouth as well is fascinating. It's very good. And these nutty notes that is so typical of the Friulano grape. Minerality, as we said, from the soil. Beautiful.
And at the end, 16 beautiful vintage, and it's very well balanced. It's mild. The tannin are very well balanced with the body of the wine.
Fantastic. Let's go on then. So you, as you say, you return from far away to the origin, to what you were doing, and you are now in a phase of rediscovery of something that was already done. Did you get any sort of what sort of testimony did you have from your grandfather way of making wine? Was he, how did it arrive to you? Because it's a lot about what you exchange with your father and with your family, and how these go from generation to generation. When these things skip.
Well, there are so many things. For example, my father know how heavy was to washing, to go inside the wooden barrel, washing the hands, the barrel, and spend a day close inside the barrel to wash the barrel. The first thing was no more wood in my cellar. And because I don't like do this. And of course, if me and my brother, we buy a full cellar of barrels, there was something different. And the first words were, you would like barrels, then you clean your barrels alone. And
Quite rightly so.
About, yeah, but after this, now we have started this work, me and my brother, with the vintage 98, then 2000, 2003, and this way. And of course, after so many years, our father appreciated this way of making Ribolla and recognized that the richness the Ribolla became from the skin at the end to do a completely different wine. That's not the matter. We produce both stainless steel fermented Ribolla and Ribolla di Oslavia. Represent the story of the grape, but Ribolla di Oslavia is something unique in the wine world. Unique in terms of complexity, unique in terms of richness, unique in terms of power for this grape, and unique in terms of range of aromas. Ribolla, like grape, is neutral on the nose. It's not an aromatic grape. And then the notes that we find at the nose are really born with fermentation and skin of some tea notes and some nuts and some mandarin candies you can find on the nose.
Ooh, I love the tea notes. Very nice.
Yeah, and then this beautiful explosion in the mouth, not based on body, but on texture of wine. I was so happy I find really in UK a professional taster of tea, like a sommelier in the wine world. And I was so happy because, yeah, sommelier, because he explained, he tested with me the Ribolla di Oslavia, and like a professional taster of tea, explained me how many different nuance of some green notes of tea was possible find in Ribolla di Oslavia. I was so exciting because I don't have any experience before, like a professional tea tester that explained me which kind of tea notes you can find in Ribolla di Oslavia. So I was really surprised about this.
A tea tasting virtual events coming soon.
Yeah.
Not with me, not with me. But yes, obviously now that you say, I can't smell anything else. I think it's fragrance as well. Is that the question of fragrance of the wine and that characteristic of extreme drinkability. Again, another bottle that doesn't last very much, and another glass. Strange that nobody's complaining. I think everybody's concentrating on that. Another glass that goes very fast. Again, becoming very quickly a favorite amongst our clients. And I have to say, if the Klin sort of paved the way and interest for your family brand, I think Ribolla Gialla is up there sort of sealing the deal and is incredibly special as a wine. Incredibly special.
That's really a unique wine in this world. Oslavia, of course, start a world process and American market saw the brand of orange wine and amber wine, but the story of skin, it's really expression of this grape. So
I open a note. I open a note. If I know about you, what you think about the label orange on the orange wine, but is it me or there is a little bit of orange in there, in the scent, in the organoleptic?
No.
Like an orange peel.
Peel. Yeah. For me, remember like mandarin candies.
Mandarin candies. We know how sophisticated, Marco. I think orange peel is doing for us. Mandarin candies in Italy, yeah. It's a big thing. Ben is saying, number 4 is like a white wine I want to drink on a winter's night. The complete opposite to a patio wine. Yeah, agreed. Mind you, it goes pretty well with the patio as well in our household. Would it be great with a plate of sheep cheese? Goat cheese.
My experience, it is this wine love spicy food. all Asian spicy food. The phenolic notes, the tannin notes, the dryness of the wine works very well and clean them out with Asian spicy. Works well with Japanese sushi with this tasty of the fish. Love a lot fried, some fried food. Yeah, because the fatness. And for our local fish, the fried bluefish is something magic. And you can pair, it's very flexible in terms of pairing. You can experiment a lot of different dishes. About cheese, I know that don't like something blue. Blue
yeah.
cheese,
No blue cheese.
Not the blue, no blue. Because it's not don't have any sweetness and works not good. But with cheese with some acidity works well.
Lovey, it is bound to be expensive. Smiley face. Smoked cheese. What about smoked cheese, Marco?
Yeah, depend about which how much influence is the smoky notes on the cheese. I prefer without because the wine is not fermented in smoke and barrel. Probably I prefer some Islay whiskey with smoked cheese, but I don't know.
Will it go well with a nutty cheese, a Gruyere or Comté?
Yeah, with beautiful fatness and mildness works well.
Yeah, go for it, Leopold. Absolutely. Very, very good. Here we go. The Primosic family again. What you do? Sylvan is
we know we are like brothers now, and you know the boss is on the middle. You know, check the picture from the 60s. The time is time for all guys, and
yeah. And your brother's cellar master, and he's a very strong administrator, isn't he?
Yeah, correct. You lose this morning. Today we have a testing. We are work all together to
decide
the winemaking process is very complicated process in our family. That means all 3, 4, 5 people of the team working on the wine, and then to this morning we are tested all barrels for the new Klin, the vintage 16, and that was very curious the works, and because you put different barrels together, you test each barrel, then different barrels and the blend of barrels, and it's a very competitive war between the 3 guys in the picture, who win, who choose the solution of different barrels, and of course win who? The Sylvan, the boss.
Sylvan, the boss. But I know you work him on the side a lot. You know,
yeah.
The side, and it looks like behind the tough guy, there is quite a lot of understanding. And I know at the end, you know, as you say, he recognized that, you know, the work you done, what the way you took was the right one. And I like the fact that you don't stay and do always the same thing. You know, you experiment, you risk, you take risks. And this is why I titled this event Skin in the Game. When you go skin in the game, in English, it means that, you know, you put your personal risk inside what you're doing. And obviously there is a reference with the skin and the game of skin. And I think this goes perfect with your family philosophy. And I think you 3 as a team are exceptional. There is a question about Yeah, where's the photo of the next generation? And what are Greta and Nicola doing at the moment? Because I know Nicola is studying marketing, if I'm not wrong. Are they going to come into the family business?
Yeah, for the Nicola, there was this morning the first time that the new member of family participate to the wine tasting, and without the possibility of vote, but the boss Silvan gave him the opportunity to explain his preference, and it's quite a new entry in the team of sixth generation. And the Greta, it's in Taiwan. And
wow, what is she doing?
She's studying Chinese, and it's
you're gonna go heavy on the Eastern market very soon, aren't you?
I don't know if she follow or no the job of the grandfather or the grandfather, but right now she's studying Chinese and Japanese. So I think that's quite not so easy for Italians.
I bet.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see where this is going. Absolutely. And are they as feisty in arguing with you as you are with your father?
I cannot answer this.
Sorry, because Nicola is there in the room with you. I forgot.
Yes.
Fantastic. I've got another question for you. How many bottles you produce? Actually, two questions. How many bottles you produce, and how are they sort of spread around the production? And how many places in the world you export your wine to? You know, the local business versus international business.
Yeah, you really kill me today, because we are in 30 countries, but no one is without lockdown right now. And that's very, very, very heavy. But now our is a family winery. The Collio wineries are all small size. And for the French people, they were talking about garages. And the production is 250,000 bottles, not cases. The American, if you tell 250,000 cases, there are 2 million, but no, 250,000 bottles. And focus on 12 different labels, though. So from 2 wines on Isonzo River, Sauvignon and Pinot Grigio, and then 6 wines on Collio, and 3 wines they are skin fermented and represent the philosophy of Oslavia. And about the markets, 1/3 is in Italy and 2/3 abroad.
Wow, are you happy of this choice? Because many wineries in Italy are mainly for the Italian market; they drink it themselves. But you've been a supporter of international push since forever.
Like young, I have a very beautiful feeling for me. Imagine that in every country, in every corner around the world, I have some friends, and they share the passion with me, the passion for the good food, for the wine. This is something that make me a good feeling, a good touch with life. That if I travel, it's not I go visit, and this make me really life very, very happy.
That is fantastic. Anybody's got any more question? I think with the timing, Marco, we done fantastic. We just 14 minutes over, and we went to this.
Too many slides.
But I tell you what, it wasn't a problem of slides. It's just that we were so fascinated about your stories and listening to you.
Thank you, guys.
You know, you really have a sort of selected follower group in us, and just for everybody to know, Marco is welcoming you. And every time you come in Oslavia, and we're gonna book as soon as they open the borders. We're gonna book a nice bus, a wine bus, and we're just gonna come and meet the family and enjoy
please.
a nice glass in the sun.
I really hope for all of us that we can start a little travel, probably first inside Europe, but the best way to know the wine is to visit the region. So all you guys are welcome in Oslavia to know our work and work of our friends winery. In 3 miles of Oslavia Hill are concentrate. So all wine friends, and you are much more welcome in our village.
Fabulous. Marco, we don't know how to thank you enough. And
Grazie a voi.
You know, a big clap on behalf of all of us. It's been extremely entertaining, very educational, and I think we really sparkled the interest in what you're doing and your philosophy and in your beautiful wines, and that was the objective after all. So I know that you don't want to stay here for my commercial spot, but already
Grazie, Bruno.
The messages are coming through, and people want to buy wine. So I feel very generous today because the wines were good. And I think I'm going to offer an amazing deal to everybody who's here with us tonight. Marco, thank you very much.
Grazie a tutti voi. And,
an absolute pleasure.
Grazie a tutti.
And Sonia,
buonanotte.
We can stop the recording now. Thank you very much.
Grazie a voi.